Hello and welcome to Can I Say Something? What you got to say? I am so excited today because on the show today, my special guest, is none other than Sandra Hall Ross. Sandra Hall Ross. We go way back. We go as far back where the Sunday school cards, we had Sunday school cards, and the price of the Sunday school card was a penny. That's how far we go back. You remember, Sandra?
Yes, ma'am.
I guess now I'm telling our age.
Right.
But it's the truth.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
how far we go back when we had those little bitty Sunday school cards, girl.
Mhm.
Oh my God. Oh my God. And so you are my special guest today, Sandra Hall Ross. And I'm so excited to have you here with me on today. Your story was your story, your testimony, your praise report is comebacks from life's challenges. And that is something that a lot of us are dealing with, making a comeback after life challenges. And so I'm excited. I'm sure you have something to say, and I'm looking forward to it. And your story is your worst days can be your best days. And of course, that coincide. So Sandra, tell me, what are you up to? What have you been doing? What's going on? What's up?
Now that we can get out and about, and since COVID has lifted, during that time, really, well, I had mom had moved to Dallas. You know, my mom had lived with me for many years, and she was in her 90s, and had to have the talk with God. Even went to my dad's grave and had to make a decision to make some changes in life, because I had been through quite a few challenges myself with my health. And when COVID hit, mom was there in Dallas with my sister, and I had sold my house, had gotten an apartment, and I was working from home. I enjoyed working from home. It was a new experience. And even when I was called back to go into the office, I decided to go a different route in my career in preparation for retirement, not to retire, but to continue to work and have a new skill set that I know would continue on, you know, as long as I wanted to work, as long as my brain was functioning. I've been in corporate America for many years, and even just after COVID and going back into the office, I saw how people, including the CEO of the company, was retiring, and he was my age. So I had already put this strategy together to make sure that I had a career change to prep myself for retirement. However, you know, during COVID, you know, just having a talk with the Lord daily and, you know, being away from people, he started giving me visions and ideas. And I was just telling a coworker today, during my working years in corporate America, I was always paid well and always had very nice positions, and would sit down with CEOs, CFOs, and to listen to my ideas. But the world has changed. Times have changed. Technology has changed, and things are going so quickly. And, you know, I've watched how quickly, you know, my life starts shifting to, you know, mom is now no longer there. I was in a house, now I'm in an apartment by myself. My girls are gone. They're working. They're doing their own thing. I have to prepare for the rest of my life. So one day, after we dealt with the uprising with the gentleman, you know, that they had you know, killed him around his neck, and I started calling people, calling my daughter, calling people, and said, you know, the Lord had given me something to do and something to say. And I came up with the idea of calling it Mama Ross, Can We Talk?
Okay.
And this Mama Ross, Can We Talk? And this was before I was really hearing about podcasting. You know, all these things just start coming
Mhm.
about and becoming prevalent and being a reality, people, you know, just for a few years ago.
Mhm.
So my idea came from the times that I would talk to young people,
Uh-huh.
the social circle for my daughters. I have a 21-year-old and 26-year-old, and everybody always came around mama, me. And I would playfully say sometimes, where their mama now? And you know, that's kind of going to the old school.
Yeah.
I didn't mean any
Yeah.
harm, but I was trying to bring reality to there's a missing link here.
Yeah.
And there
Yeah.
was a void and a gap that needed to be filled.
Mhm.
And I could talk to anyone at any age. Of course, I was used to that when I was out in the work world, but just having casual conversations with my daughter's friends, now that they're turning grown-ups and starting to buy houses and cars and all of that, I
Yeah.
found myself, especially during the COVID time, on the phone with a 18-year-old for 2 hours.
Mhm.
And I still in the back of my head would say, where's their mama now?
Mhm.
And I felt like our village, that the one that we grew up with the Sunday school card and the Sunday school,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
something is missing.
Yeah.
And with the idea came just a place and a platform for the generations to talk.
Wow.
That is yet to be launched. I am
Uh-huh.
like right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything imaginable has come against me for that
Mhm.
not to happen.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
along with that, after my mom passed away in 2021, I had already thought of starting to journal the things that she used to say. And you know,
Uh-huh.
we had her services, her homegoing services at your brother-in-law's and sister's church. And it was, again, it was so the right place and the right people, because we wanted to show, you know, all the years, you know, from the years that
Yeah.
we all grew up together and all those
Yeah.
people represented. And it just all turned out with everything I had ever hoped and dreamed.
Yes.
And I heard people as they would get up and have something to say and about mom, it was she would always say, you know, and so that's what I wanted to capture, all of those Sister
Be-
Hall
Yeah.
always say, because
Yeah.
Sister Hall lived to be 92 years old. So Sister
Wow.
Hall had a lot to say.
A lot to say.
And some of those things, you know, although maybe old school, they don't never die.
Mhm.
We do need to hear from new school. We do need to share ideas with the other generations, but there are some things, even though my mom's gone, your mom, your
Mhm.
dad, you know, all
Mhm.
those people who taught and trained us. Now
Yes.
here we are. Now our hair is gray. Now our hair is white.
Yeah.
But we have that
Yeah.
memory of
Yes,
those
we do.
white-haired, gray-haired ladies that
Mhm.
gave us the penny candy, the penny Sunday school cards. And
Yes.
so now I feel like it's our mission. I believe God has made sure that
Mhm.
my ministry now is not the
Mhm.
choir director, maybe not so much the Sunday school teacher, but I
Mhm.
started building a brand, and it's Mama Ross. And it's a
Mama
Mama
Ross.
Ross, Can We Talk?
I love it.
And so
I love
that's what
it.
I've been working on.
That's what you've been working on.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
wow. I
At least
love it.
several years. Mhm.
Yes. And it takes time. It takes time. I realize that even what I'm doing now, it took maybe a year and a half to 2 years before I even really start seeing going that way. First of all, it was just in my head for a long time. And then
Mhm.
finally, gradually put it on paper. And then slowly but surely, I started working on it. And the thing that I want to encourage you, Sandra, is that keep it moving, keep it rolling. It doesn't matter how long it takes for you to get there. What matters is that you get there. And when you get there, it's going to be God said set time and for you to be there. And many will be blessed. Many will be blessed. Many will be able to receive. And many will be saying, well, golly, we should have had this a long time ago. But God, it's the leading of God in the time and in the manner of which you blossom in this project that you're working on. Sandra, again, Mama Ross, Can We Talk is awesome. It almost can we, and you know, you got your Mama Ross, can we talk, from your mother, right?
Mhm.
You were inspired by the things that your mother said and done. And can I say something? It's from my mother. You knew my mom, she was a very quiet woman, and she just didn't really do a whole lot of talking. But when she did say something, she would always ask for permission. And I thought, coming as a child, do I ask me and our husbands for permission to talk? But no, that was just her mannerism. And we can be talking and going on and everything. She said, can I say something? And so the Lord impressed that on my heart, and to do a show based on that, sharing the things that we need today to be successful and to keep moving forward in life. And here you are with that same, we're both cut from the same cloth.
Right.
We came up under the same ministry. We came up under the same godly household. So, it's just like you said, God moving and inspiring us to do what we need to do now that we are in the positions that our mothers were in, that our parents were in. And so, Mama Ross, can we talk? Wow. So, but in your on your information sheet, you said some things, your story, your testimony, your praise report was your worst days can be your best days. And a lot of us, and I got to go back to your testimony, comebacks from life challenges. They both go in together. They both roll together. And a lot of us are feeling like we are in our worst days because of there's so many things that's going on, Sandra. Our children are in trouble. Our relationships are in trouble. Sickness and diseases, all these things are happening. And it puts us in a position where we feel like we are in our worst days. But you are here to tell us how our worst days can also be our best days. You got something to say? What you got to say? What is it, Sandra, that makes you feel like our worst days can be our best days?
Well, I grew up as a Christian young woman. I was coined the church girl when I was in junior high school, and even as I got older and saw those friends I grew up with, then I was coined the church lady. And I'll take it as a compliment. But really, what they were looking at is that I held up the values that we were taught. From the no sex to the I'm just keeping it real. I was one of the good girls, point blank, period. With that said, sometimes I will say you sometimes get in this bubble, and you still have to live in life and deal with the realities of life. And just because that you're a good girl, good person, Christian, do everything by the law, by the book, or what have you, doesn't mean you're not going to encounter difficulties in life. It's part of the process. And we as Christians, we know the scriptures. However, it does seem to take us off guard. It's like, this is happening to me. I was at Sunday school Bible study, YPWW. I was in the, on and on. But, church work is not going to be something that gives you a license to say, oh, well, you won't have any trouble. You won't experience divorce. You won't have a miscarriage. You won't have money. You won't lose a house. You may lose a job. All of that. And as you say, Yolanda, how now what the world is going in right now and dealing with, and as Mom closed her eyes, one thing she said to me is that she had never seen, and she always told me she enjoyed life to the fullest, to the end, and being born in 1929, she'd just never seen anything like the things that were going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then at that point, she closes her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think about how in the scripture with Moses, and how, he was trying to get the children of Israel over to the other side, but it came a point that Moses didn't make it. He had to pass the torch. The torch has been passed. Our
Yes.
generation is now the older generation.
Yes.
And I'm wanting this platform that I'm putting together is for us to take all of our life's challenges, all of our flaws, failures, and successes, and share it with the next generation.
Yeah.
So what I have to share through my testimony is just like you have told the audience, your worst days can be your best days. Shout out to Pastor Charles Hill that I probably haven't seen in many, many years. That came from a message he gave probably when I was a teenager. And there are a few messages that have stayed just on my brain, and I've heard a whole lot in my lifetime. But that was one of them that I knew that I would have to take that with me throughout my life.
Yeah.
And the hard part about it, though, is that sometimes it seems unfair. Because you're looking, outside, and Mama used to always say,
What she said?
Stop looking, at, look at him and her at church together, and they look like a beautiful couple, and they
stop
drive
looking.
Let's just stop them keeping it real. And she said, bring me back, because why my life is not going like that. But the reality is, when you are set apart and you are called out by God, you're going to have to deal with these certain challenges in life. And I had to get to a point when my hair turning white is that, that God chose me to go through the things that I went through. I have dealt with divorce. I was married for 18 years. That wasn't supposed to happen to me, but it did.
It did.
And, and it after it happened, I didn't see my ex-spouse for 4 years. So I was a mom with an elderly parent who had a house that I had to manage. I had my own home I had to manage. I had vehicles I had to manage. My mom, her faculties, pretty early on in her latter years, she just let me handle things. So the stresses of life and those things that a woman are not designed to do had fallen on me. And, and I won't go into details of some of the things that happened. Some of the people who are closest to me, they don't know how they would have handled it. I am still here. I still have, as the older people say, I'm clothed in my right mind. And
that's what they say.
Grace of God.
The grace of God.
The grace of God. So again, I don't want to go into any dirty details of my life, but I have, some very, very difficult challenges, through marriage, money issues that I've had to face. I've had jobs where I had to travel, and, if there were high-powered positions that I had to manage my family while trying to manage my career. But I would like to share that as in 2012, I was actually managing, had my mom living with me, my 2 young daughters, and I was renting out my mom's house. I was dealing with managing that, and I had a job with an oil and gas company that required me to travel. And during that time, I started having blackout spells. The first time I had one, was on FM 1960 with my mom driving, and my brain just shut down.
Wow.
She thought it was a hypoglycemic, reaction, and she immediately went to a bank, and somebody took my pressure, and they gave me something to think they bring in the sugar level up. And then I drove myself to an emergency room, and at the emergency room, they could not figure out anything. So that started in 2012, and that went on for several years. In 2013, I did get, after having a seizure, a couple at work, one while having lunch with one of the co-workers, And when I came to, I was on a stretcher and they just, ma'am, you must go to emergency room. I'm thinking,
Wow.
mom, and two girl, I got to manage these
Mhm.
households. I don't have time.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
at the time I was the let's see, what was I held a position where I managed the music department, which
Mhm.
included the choirs, band,
Mhm.
dancers, and the persons who did the drama for
Mhm.
a church in Northwest Houston that had about a
Mhm.
thousand members at the time. So I
Mhm.
was also doing that, and I had 2 services on Sundays, and I had Thursday night rehearsals. And
Mhm.
mom said, eventually, you're doing too much.
Yeah,
But that's
yeah,
what a lot, that was my life, my
yeah,
girls, my mom, making sure my mom get to where she wanted to go and enjoying her life the fullest. And I could go straight from work, cook, do all the things I need to do, get
yeah,
to church, manage, 2 services, get up and go direct the choir 1 service, get back to my house, get my girls ready, get them to Sunday school, all of that.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Too much,
yeah,
too
yeah.
much. And
Hmm.
eventually, after being seen by a doctor at Memorial Hospital for a number of years, she pretty just threw me over and said, you probably won't have to work won't be able to work anymore or drive, because once you have a seizure, that's an 18-month period that you shouldn't drive. And
Really?
at the corner of Beltway 8 and West Road, right where the church where I directed the choir, I one day passed out after coming from work. I ended up losing my job at the oil and gas company. They came up
Wow.
with a nice way of, doing away with my position, and they gave me
Yeah.
like a nice severance. And it
Mm-hmm.
helped me to live off of that for a year. But meanwhile, I still need to figure out how I'm going to take care of myself, how I'm going to manage. I did
Yeah.
have a doctor in 2013 put me in Methodist Hospital. He was the head of neurology at Methodist
Mm-hmm.
Hospital, Texas Medical Center. And
Mm-hmm.
he did a week of trying to figure out where these seizures are coming from.
Yeah.
And he even brought in interns. They were trying to, make me have seizures and just come up with this hypothesis. And in the end, he only came up with that I was perimenopausal and the brain is skipping.
Wow.
And that week I was there, only persons that came to see me, my mom, at this time in her 80s, she
Uh-huh.
away with my 2 girls, got there to
Yeah.
come. I don't remember seeing anybody else. All the
Wow.
people that, I work with, man, I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. But I
Mm-hmm.
was there in the hospital faced with
Mm-hmm.
all the legal documents that I had to sign off from the job that I was no longer getting ready to have.
Wow.
And I still had, I had a 2-bedroom home with my daughters in it, and like, vehicles to manage, and my mom's house with renters in it, and all of those things to manage. And
Mm-hmm.
I really can't say where my ex-husband was at the time. I really can't. I know
Mm.
there was a period of time that I tried to reach out to him and told him I need his physical help. At the time, I
Mm-hmm.
was not asking for anything financially, and
Mm-hmm.
he refused. I said, I just need you to take my vehicle, and I'm not supposed to drive, and get my daughters,
Back
from
and
here
forth.
there.
Yeah.
And I was denied at the time. And this is not a platform to bash my the former stuff. Not. No.
Yeah.
It is what it is, and it's what
But
I do.
it's the facts. It's the
It's the fact.
facts.
It
Yeah.
may be some things now that he regret that he did, but it's just what we went through at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we eventually I had to hire someone who we grew up with in church. Her daughter dealt with a period of time. She had seizures, and she came and lived with me and helped
Mm-hmm.
me manage my daughters and driving and all those things.
Oh,
And even
wow.
with my
That,
job, I've had my daughter had to travel with me, so you couldn't have me have a seizure, while I was out
yeah.
traveling. We just
Yeah.
didn't know when they would take
When
place.
it was going to hit.
But I did have the one, it was in 2015 that was at Beltway 8 and West Road. And
Mm-hmm.
with that one, I was getting ready to get medications at the Walgreens at the corner. And I had been working a job. It was the job. And I had to be there at 4 o'clock in the morning. And mom told me, you really, probably should not be working. And my body was just, just freaking out, saying, no, what is it? The sleeping patterns were off. And before I could get to the drive-through to get the medication, my vehicle was fairly new, had a brand new vehicle. And when I came to, there was constable, fire trucks, workers that had been working on the Beltway, ambulance, just people from out of Taco Cabana. Ma'am, I had been out for a while. And
you had an accident during that time, but you don't know what really happened though.
Right. I just remember driving in to get ready to go pick up my medication. And then we were dealing with, at the time, me no longer having health insurance, but the Affordable Health Care Act, the Obamacare was coming into play, but I was having some issues, and I was having a time trying to get the insurance and get the medication and all that. But it was a blessing to have the pre-existing condition and be able to get insurance through that program.
Yes.
But it just took a little while. And I did have some incidences before I could get the insurance and get the medication. But at that particular day, I've been in Walgreens and been giving them a credit card for $800 medication. And the people, ma'am, trying to figure out, I just needed it. I didn't know what, I was still trying to figure everything out. But I passed out. I was out for some time. They allowed me to sign papers to not go to the emergency room because, I had been there, done that. They hadn't. And they said a lady came into my vehicle and she told me what to do. And she held onto my purse. And I looked over and asked the constable, where is she? And he said, I don't know. And he said, I've been looking for her myself so we can get a statement from her. God,
what was that about?
That's an angel. And she said, she taught me how to turn the vehicle off. So this is one time that I was driving and I had this incident. And the constable said, I'm legally supposed to, have your license revoked. He said, for some reason, ma'am, I'm not.
You can't do it. Oh, wow.
Do it. And he said, call your family or whoever. My 17-year-old daughter, had to come. And I actually was on my way for a doctor's visit that day, just for a primary care doctor. And when I had to call them and tell them why I wasn't going to be there on time, the doctor just blasted me. She was like, "Oh, you can kill yourself. You can kill somebody." Nobody was giving me solutions. It was basically, you can't work. The doctor at Methodist had tried to put me on disability twice and twice denied.
Wow.
Listen, yes, I have some money over here and a little money over there, but if I keep living off of that,
you're gonna run out.
And I have sat at the disability place. Oh, you've been working since you're 17. Oh, yes, ma'am. You would get the maximum. Even for a short period, I would have been so much better off, but it didn't happen that way. So again, I just started working. I've worked at funeral homes. I started working at FedEx. I just started doing whatever I needed to do because I was at a point that I started losing memory.
Oh, wow. Really, Sandra?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
I had cousins. I had people that was members of the church where I direct the choir. They see me, say, "My sister Roy, hey, Sister Sandra," and I'm like. And still to this day, I have a lot of the memory back, but things that are not a major event or people I haven't seen in years, I may have to call my sister, call somebody and say, "Listen, help me. I'm not." But one of the major seizures that I had was right before when I did get the insurance. Me and Mom went up to the Walmart off of 290 and something happened with the system, and my mom had such a good relationship with the pharmacist, and he was, I'm going to, Miss Ross, get you some of this medication until we can get the paperwork or whatever through. He said, so y'all just go ahead, go get you some water or something, and we'll get it prepared for you. By the time we went in line and got the water, got the medication, we were headed out of Walmart. And I passed out in the Walmart parking lot at 290 and Tidwell.
With your mother?
with my mother by my side, and she said I rolled, foaming at the mouth, eyes still on this whole.
You know that was devastating for Sister Hall. You know that. That
And
was very devastating.
that
for
was
her.
in 2015. She had just had a major heart surgery, a heart valve surgery.
Wow.
She was about
Wow.
86, 87.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She still lived, we still managed and we still
Yeah.
kept going.
Yeah.
And I drove away from that place. They asked me, I have letters to this day where witnesses from Walmart and people who saw what happened. And, it took me a while to know my name. The time that I came to, the last thing I remember, one of the officers saying to me was, "Who is the president of the United States?" And I looked up them and I said, Baraka. So who's saying no? Hallelujah.
I know that's right, girl. You know nothing else, you knew that.
I remember coming out saying that.
Yeah, you remember that. Yes, praise God.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, I've had one off of 290 out in the Cypress area. We were going to pick up my daughter in a training session out at that center where the outlet center for out 290. And my mom said, I just, started like blinking and staring. And she told me how to get up. She said, I was in the far lane and my brain would do what people would tell, when moms go over there. And I got us safely into an HEB parking lot. And she ran in hysterical and they came out with some water and just let me, stay there for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Yolanda, that's just a few incidences and things. I'm a miracle.
You're here today talking about it. And
I went to work today and I drove myself today. And I work around people who are 20 something years old. And
look, and you remember that you were supposed to be doing the show today. Thank you, Lord. It's just amazing how good God is. Because Sandra, you should have been gone several times. You're sharing your story. At each part of your story, you should have been gone. And then if not gone physically, you should have been gone mentally. Your mind should be messed up. Ooh, thank you. Your mind should be messed up right now, today. But God said, not so, not so. Oh my God, Sandra.
So, Yolanda, went into, when my mom moved with me, I sat down with an insurance agent to talk about her Medicare. And I was like, oh my God, I never heard this stuff before. And so I started getting interested in it. And that was my strategy for retirement, is to learn Medicare. And then now have dealt with the ACA Obamacare. And that's what I decided in 2020 and walked away from my job. I was working at an insurance company, and that job was a miracle because it was the first kind of real job that was befitting to me. 2018 that I hadn't had in a while. I was just doing something just to try to earn a living, working part-time and all of that. So I had to keep pushing and pressing to not, go along with, what I've used to earn a living all these years. And, and I had to go against the grain. It has been a fight. It has been letters from because I ended up at the Epilepsy Foundation. I was seen by them for about 5 years. And that doctor, she was just unbelievable. She just passed away earlier this year. But we just talked myself through this. I started taking myself, the first medication I was put on, which is Keppra, a high-powered medication for the brain, which Sandra Bland from that incident at PV was on.
Yeah, okay.
I took myself off of that.
I
could, it didn't keep, it was unstable, but it was supposed to keep me from having the seizures. I took myself off of that, and it started getting to the point that the doctor, sometimes when I see her, she just wouldn't know what to say. But for one thing I did, Yolanda, was I made sure that everything that was going in here was positive.
Yeah.
And a message that gave me hope. That took me outside of, just deal with what I was dealing with and settling there.
Mm-hmm.
So what I find myself doing now is
Mm-hmm.
talking to people. From just this week, a retired pilot from
Mm-hmm.
American Airlines who's like,
Mm-hmm.
I've been on my health plan for 38 years. He didn't
Uh-huh.
know what to do. He was 72 years old, didn't know what to do. And he ended up on my phone. And I spent
Mm-hmm.
3 days, about probably an hour each day. Every day, you gonna call me tomorrow? Just
Mm-hmm.
needed guidance, because now he has
Yes.
this younger wife and 2 kids still in school. I've been working
Mm-hmm.
all my life. I said, sir, you're supposed to be on Medicare. Oh, that's right. But
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
complicated, and I had to
He-
explain to him.
yes. Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
And they,
Elderly, they need that.
mhm.
It's so many elderly people out there that's missing plans, that's missing meals, missing free stuff, discounts. They need someone to say, and guess what? A lot of them have families, but the
Oh,
family members don't have the time. And so they struggle. They thought they heard, they thought they needed. And then you have these other people that come in and take advantage of them.
oh
Oh
my
my
gosh.
goodness. You are
Unbelievable.
a blessing to have the patience, the kindness, and um the fortitude to want to take on that. I, I almost could say take on that challenge, because it is a challenge when we work with um people who just don't have it, And guess what? One day we're going to be a challenge to somebody, to our daughters,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and everything. And I think it's great. I think it's great and highly, oh my God, I think God really looks at that, how you're wanting to share your knowledge and your ability to help somebody else. That particular component, it slips through. It really does. And making the phone calls. And when they make the phone call, Sandra, they may make the phone call, they may sit and wait till someone pick it up, but the information that's given and the the speed that is given in, they don't always get it. They don't
and
always
and
get it.
and being in this environment, the thing that I have to come against sometimes. And when I
Mm-hmm.
was trained recently, because I had been focusing on Medicare, I still can't help people with Medicare. But this year I've
Mm-hmm.
been working with under 65, because a lot of people who were on Medicaid have
Mm-hmm.
lost it now since COVID has lifted. And
Uh-huh.
so now you have millions of people who had insurance and health care through Medicaid now have to be introduced to something totally different. So that's
Totally
who I'm
different.
working with right now. And so,
Awesome.
so I'm telling you, I got the call from, the $300,000 earner who worked for 38 years, but I've also talked to the young man who was sitting on a corner who says, I'm homeless right now, and I was
Mm-hmm.
on Medicaid and I'm no longer, and I'm trying to figure out how can I get health insurance, and I have seizures.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
that training that, me working with the 20-some-year-olds, and I've had a trainer look at me when I had finished, actually making a sale, come to me and said, Sandra, now I'm seeing messages coming across different. Let's take our time with our clients, because they're
Yeah.
starting to see that I can get almost the same result as
Mm-hmm.
somebody 20-some years old, moving and working and
Mm-hmm.
selling. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sitting here taking my time and listening to people and saying, you can make,
Listen.
I've been
Mm-hmm.
there. I've had
Uh-huh.
issues. I'm not even supposed to be sitting. I'm working today. I drove myself to work, and I'm here to help you.
Woo! Woo, God is good. Oh my God.
It has
Oh my God.
been such a challenge. And the main challenge, which
Mm-hmm.
mental health is such a big deal right now, it's something, and I would even say, my heart goes out with my ex-husband. I believe that's what he dealt with some years ago after losing a
Mm-hmm.
job and, me having
Yeah.
income on the household. He was dealing with the mental challenges from that,
Challenges. Those,
depression.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm,
Depression is
I'm
real.
fighting this because the brain, you're not supposed to be doing, you can't comprehend, because in 2015, trying to work and
Mm-hmm.
being put in these different places, my brain was not operable. It was flipping
Yeah.
out. I had to
Yeah.
learn how to heal.
Uh-huh.
That second medication I was on, it's been a
Uh-huh.
little over a year. No more
Uh-huh.
medication. I do not
Thank
take
you.
medication for seizures.
Thank
And
you,
so
Lord.
now, as a 50, soon to be 58-year-old woman, I tell them, listen, I'm
Mhm.
58 years old. It's a lot of information that's had to flow through this brain. I don't really have to bring up seizures. But
Uh-huh.
what I'm really realizing, Yolanda, I may have had the seizures, but a lot of people end up dealing with the same thing, not really understanding. They need the information presented again, but they don't
Uh-huh.
say something.
Yeah. Yes.
And then I
Mm-mm-mm.
found myself now on the job, whereas I used to be, maybe with the CEOs and all that and coming up with ideas, but just sitting down with the regular day people who
Mhm.
scared to say something.
Yeah.
But Mama Ross is going to talk.
Yeah.
Mama Ross
You,
is going to say, I'm an older person, and
uh-huh.
it's all new information. It's coming at me so fast. Can you slow this down?
Yeah. Yeah.
Finding even the younger people are needing that. And then I get the sidebars. Ooh, now what? Oh, see, when you said it, when you broke it down that way, because this
Mm-hmm.
world and all the information is moving so fast.
Fast. It is. It really is. It really is.
So
And
I
it,
am here to help slow it down, let people
mhm,
talk, that the generations talk to one another. Because I had a
mhm,
24-year-old training me a few months ago, and I asked her something. She said, oh, I thought everybody knew that's common sense. And then later she
mhm.
had, oh, Mr. Ross, I didn't mean any harm. I said, I've already written a book on common sense, not what you're
Uh-huh.
saying. I said,
Mhm.
because what is common sense to you is what you were born with, and it's technology. It's all about technology.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
I said, these things were not invented when I was your age. We had to go about things a much longer, drawn
Much.
out process. I said,
Yes.
so my brain is
We
wired.
had we had to use our brain. We had to use our brain
And
back
so
then.
that 72-year-old who
Mhm.
he was trying to get insurance for his wife and children. Now I had to talk to someone who's gonna help him with Medicare. I told him that's gonna be a
Uh-huh.
whole different. I said, so that's another day that I want you to do that. I said, today we're
Mhm.
focusing on your family. And
Mhm.
his earnings is too high to be on the ACA or the Obamacare network. That's for the people
Mhm.
with a certain income level. You get up there, you need to do something
Mhm.
totally different. So,
Different. Yeah.
you're telling me when you retire and your income just for unused vacation is $100,000, we can't go that direction. Here, let me talk to you, sir. And so
Yeah.
it was hard for him to receive. But what I did was took my time, and I sat down and had other people was all involved, because really they was learning from my scenario. They
Yeah.
asked the questions, nobody really wanted to, get down that dirt. But I wanted a scenario where I can break down that if his family had to show up, at the
Mhm.
emergency room, the urgent care, this is how much it costs. This man was 72 years old. He was a pilot. This is the
Mhm.
generation we come from. You can't
Mhm.
tell me something or sell me something and you just throw in, and I'm getting ready to give you a credit card. Now that's
Mhm.
happening for people all around me. But when
Yeah.
you start dealing with older generation, that's why you got Mama Ross here now. Okay.
Yes.
Can't do
Yes.
that with this man. So then I
Mama
had to
Ross,
see
can
the
we talk?
younger management had to start, different messages coming across, because they realized we have two different things going on. Something that Mama
Mhm.
Ross wants to talk about is the
Mhm.
older worker and how you manage the older worker. Because as
Yes.
I started challenging myself to work from home and learning the Medicare and all these things, and now
Mhm.
the first time I was faced with all this equipment coming to my apartment, and I now live alone, I had to sit in the middle of the floor and cry and say, what have
And
I done?
yeah.
I
Well,
was scared to death. And
yeah,
there were a couple of
you're there all alone. And if there's someone really to say, well, let me show you, or you kind of got to figure it out yourself.
there's no
Yeah.
IT department. And just like I told this gentleman, no, there's no HR people in the background that, no, you're going to have to now take some ownership of your
Mm-hmm.
medical expenses and understand how your plan works. And
Mm-hmm.
when I couldn't just tell him, off the top of my head, and I wanted to get myself better versed, then he said, you gonna call me tomorrow? I said, yes, sir. What time?
Mm-hmm.
I called
Mm-hmm.
him on Thursday at 2:30 p.m. and
Mm-hmm.
on time, and said, okay, Mr. James, I need you to get a piece of paper and a pencil. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Sat down and I read through. I said, in the event, I said, let's use gallstones, and you had to show up at the urgent care. Let's write it out. So whoever listens to my calls or whoever managing me, manage that. in the end, you know, I sold him me, and I broke down, you know, what it was best for the company. And I said, and then I'm getting ready to send this to you via your cell phone to sign. I know this is, I don't know. Sir, this is the way it's done. We have to go ahead. Because I am here with you and for you. I am almost 58 years old. I feel your pain. I have blood wheels all around me that will be by my side if I get stuck. And I did get stuck. I said, hang on, James, need to call one of my But
it happens.
they glean from me taking the time and breaking that down. Because can you imagine a 72-year-old getting, you know, a younger person on the phone, and they're trying to figure out, what do I do about my children and my wife and my health care now that I'm retired?
And sorry to say, our young people just don't have the time. You know, put it this way, our young people today treat, and not all of them, forgive me, Lord, not all of them, because my daughter is very patient with me. My granddaughter is very patient with me and everything. And my nieces, and they're very patient with me. So not all of them, but you have a lot of young people out there today that fail to realize that one day, if they make it, they're going to be wearing these same shoes, flat shoes. You know, one day they're going to come out the heels, and they're going to need someone to take time out for them if they make it. You know, but they act like they don't see their old future, their age. They act like they're not going to live beyond 25, 30 years old. And so they mistreat the elderly, overlook the elderly. And, you know, and some of our youth is doing that in the home with their own elderly parents. So basically, we are in trouble. And Mama Ross, can we talk, is for now, this day and time, the generation that's now, that want everything fast, don't want to listen to nobody. And unfortunately, sometimes we have a problem hearing from the people that are around us, the people that's basically in our circle, or the people that's for us. Children sometimes we find children have an issue with listening to mama and listening to daddy. But when Miss So-and-so down the street says it, or when their best friend mama says it, okay, it's okay. But it's the same thing that mom been trying to tell you all along. So I know for a fact that Mama Ross, Can We Talk, is going to be a blessing. It's going to be a blessing, and that God gave that to you because he knows what our youth need right now, today. He knows that. And not only can you talk about the natural side of life, but you've been blessed to have a relationship with God from before you really knew who God was. Like I said, when we was having the penny Sunday school cards, the little Sunday school cards. I wish I had one of those today.
I know you're making me want to go maybe on Amazon, maybe there.
You think so?
No,
I don't know. I don't know. When we gave Sunday school offering of 10 cents, with a dime was good enough to give in our Sunday school class. Boy, those were the days. But we're blessed to have those days, Sandra. I feel personally that I was blessed to come up in the church the way I did. When we had revivals, when we had the mothers and the missionaries who took time out while we tarry,
Mhm. Mhm.
because it's kind of hard to find folks that wants to tarry now,
Right,
who
right.
wants to get down on the floor with you and be there with you until God gets through with you. It's
Right.
kind of hard. And so I say all the time, I'm so glad I got saved when they were doing it like the way they called people to the altar and they worked with you and told you to say, thank you, Jesus, save me, Lord, until they didn't have to, thank you. Hey,
Mhm.
and then until they didn't have to tell you no more, and
Mhm.
you begin to start telling it yourself. When they would take you out the church and you, the people on the street would say she must be sick, she must be drunk, but you're still praising God, and they had to put you in the car because
Mhm.
you still telling the Lord thank you, still praising God. I
Mhm.
just thank God that I got mine when all of that was going on.
Mhm.
I really do.
Now,
And
we got ours, but we need to make sure we transfer that to the next generation.
to the
They're
next
not going to
generation.
get it the way we did, Yolanda. No, times have
No,
changed.
yeah,
So that's
yeah,
why I had come out of my comfort zone when I first started talking about Mama Ross, and I started
uh-huh,
saying about podcasts. Oh, okay, yeah, I can talk all the day long and get a microphone.
hmm,
And I went and bought one, and I'm ready to go.
uh-huh,
Like, no, you need to get on camera. No, 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 I'm
hmm.
not. Nobody's camera. No. I had to start getting over a lot of, these other
The-
fears and things that started coming at me,
I'm
because
still doing it.
the generation liked the idea, but then they were telling me, but no, we need this and we need that. And
Yeah,
then I
yeah,
started bringing it, to other people, and they were like, well, no, we older people, we may want to go and see and talk.
uh-huh,
So I have a friend who's a retired doctor. She's just sitting, waiting back and saying, she wants the sit down, come now that we can come together meeting,
uh-huh,
and let's
hmm.
let's do this
The
this way.
dialogue. Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so each time I'm like, okay, okay. Um,
hmm,
so like I said, I've run out of excuses.
hmm,
Earlier this year, last year I had my vehicle, it'd be 9 years old this year. And
hmm,
it means so much to me because I've had so many incidences where I wasn't supposed to come out of that
hmm,
vehicle. Still looks
hmm,
great to this day.
hmm,
And
hmm,
I had to have a starter or something replaced because I was working from home and I'm not
hmm,
driving it enough. And I had that car shield put on it in
hmm,
2020. I'd already
hmm,
seen all the commercials, and I had to call car shield because I was like at home one day, and, oh my God. And when they came and got it, I actually ended up calling police because everything was just happening so quick. And
hmm,
I just didn't know what to do. But anyway, it was a seamless process. I paid my deductible, $100,
uh-huh.
and so the $1,500, $1,600 or whatever done, in a few days, my car bought back to me.
And
Uh,
now was this, so you
mhm,
use
mhm,
Car Shield.
mhm, mhm,
Listen to this, viewers. Sandra used Car Shield. And I'm sure, viewers, it's many of you, like me,
mhm,
that wonders if that car shield really, really works. Because you got Vivica Fox talking about car shields, and God knows she really don't need no car shield. And you got what, Ice Cube,
mhm.
Ice T, he's talking about it. You got all these major celebrities, and I'm like, does car shield really work? And Sandra is telling me that car shield really works.
CarShield reached out to me maybe the beginning of this year, and I started getting emails. I kind of started
Mm-hmm,
running some things by my daughter. Was like, is this real? But they told me
mm-hmm,
they wanted my testimonial, and
mm-hmm.
they wanted me to say something about the experience, because a lot
Really?
of people see Ice-T and they see the stars doing it, and they
Yeah.
wanted to have some people who really have used their product for the
Awesome.
testimony. So I went through what I'm doing with you today, and
Uh-huh.
talk. It went through a no, I'm not getting the word out right, but anyway, preliminary
Mm-hmm,
interview, and then I
mm-hmm,
ended up talking to someone who's a producer out in
mm-hmm,
Hollywood who produces
mm-hmm.
movies and commercials, and
Oh my
cars
goodness.
use them. So in the February, they said we'll follow up with you probably in later
Mm-hmm,
March. We'd like to fly you
mm-hmm.
down to and do a commercial for us.
Look at that. Praise
So
God.
this is one of those fears, Yolanda. I'm not, when I started getting on these Zooms and stuff, I'm like, oh Lord, I have my hair, I was just trying to color the gray and all that, and it was starting to turn white. And I'm not a big makeup person and all of that. And I was like, oh, if I got to get on camera, my daughter got to do my makeup and all, I don't know, da 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 da. I'm not the same size I was 50 years ago. I did all of that stuff. But here I am being told we'd like to fly you and a person of your choice. Well, my daughter who does the makeup.
Of course.
So we went in April for several days, all expenses paid.
Wow.
Commercial, and I know they had a writer's strike and some things going on in Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
just blocks from the Hollywood sign. And I've taken these days off at work and I'm sitting here with cameras, young people on laptops and good job, yeah, great smile. And I'm like, what, Lord.
He's preparing you, Sandra. He's preparing you for something great. He
And
really is.
I haven't even heard from them since we went, because again, I know there's some things going on, writers strike and all of that.
Oh yeah.
But,
They're gonna, you're gonna hear from them. They're gonna reach out.
I talked to the CEOs and I said, okay, so does Vivica Fox, and they told me what she drives, and yes, Vivica and Ice-T have car shield, and yes, they're regulars and have their time slots.
Oh my goodness.
And they actually, where I was, that's where they film as well. So,
and that's where you're heading. You're heading where they film. Girl, look at God. He opened doors.
I don't know what's coming of that. I haven't heard any more from him. It's just me and my daughter flown there for several days, and the cameras and stuff. My daughter did my makeup, and oh my God, oh my God. I said, what did you, he's trying to tell me something. So if you're preparing me, I say, yes, Lord. I've never been.
That's all you need to say.
I appreciate what you're doing, Yolanda, because, not you, as well as a few others, was like, this is the new day and this is what we need to do. If I was able to get in front of 1,000 people and direct a choir, I got to get over the fact now I'll do something and, it's going to be all over the world. It is what it is. So
it is what it is.
So thank you. When you reached out to me, I think my daughter started feeling like, okay, mama is supposed to do this. One thing that kept me from, pushing forward is I wanted them to come along. My two daughters, come on, y'all help me with it. They're friends. This is all about you guys. We don't have time. We have our own lives, Mom.
Yeah. And, I did the same thing with my daughter. I was like, geez, and maybe you can be my
right.
And she said, no.
Right.
This is what God has given you. This is your time, Mama. No, if you need me for something in the background, that's fine. But no, this is you. And the same thing with the camera. I am not a camera person. I don't like taking pictures. I don't like a camera and everything. But that's besides the point. We have a testimony. We have a story. We have a praise report. We have something to say. And what we have to say is what the world needs now. What the world needs now.
And I went down to Hollywood with the same story, and I had these people sitting. I was on a director's chair under a tent with all these lights, and I'm telling them about my Mama Ross. Oh my God! Oh, your Mama Ross! They're loving it. So I mean, I was really selling it to Hollywood, and nobody was. They were like, that could be the next thing. But for me, I'm just saying I believe that's what God would have me as ministry. I doing it in the background now. When I leave you, I'll go keep my daughter's friend's baby. Mom is a single parent, and the dad, once the baby came, he started kind of backing out, and she's here in Houston with no other family. And Mama Ross, she even asked me, will I be the baby's grandmother? I said, I'm part of her village. So
a part of the village.
I'm part of the village. And I met the dad, and actually I was in the middle of him being served papers. But I was able to speak to that young man first, and I just introduced myself. I said, I am part of this baby's village. So whatever he thinks of me or what's going on, he at least know that his baby is in good hands. Where are the village people? Yeah. Well, on that note, I just want to say thank you so much, Sandra, for taking this time out to be a part of. Can I say something? What you got to say? I mean,
I am so excited for you. You've given some good information, and I'm so excited about where God is taking you. And thank you so much for sharing, and being a blessing to the viewers, because that somebody needed to hear this. Your worst days can be your best days. Comebacks from life challenges, and you are a comeback. You really are. You really are. And God, so many times things happen in our life, and we be like, "Why does this have to happen to me? Why is it happening to me?" And a lot of time when God take us through something, we always think about me, me, me. But when He take us through and bring us out, we realize then that, you know what? It wasn't all about me, but it was all about me being a blessing to someone else, to let them know that God can do anything. There's nothing too hard for God. Get your eyes off your situation, viewers. Stop looking at what you see with these physical eyes. Take your eyes off of it. I know it's hard. I know, oh my God, it's hard because it's right there in front of you. But take your eyes off those things that are not pleasing to you, and those things that causes you to be depressed, confused. Take your eyes off those things and put your eyes on God. Put your eyes on God. How do I put my eyes on God? Get into His word. Get into His word. Start seeking Him. Start doing the things that are pleasing to God. And then you will see the results. You will see how your comeback of your challenges, of life challenges, how they will be your worst days, but they can be also your best days. And so once again, I want to say thank you, Sandra, for being a part of this show. And I look forward to connecting with you in the near future. I look forward to seeing that commercial, girl. I look forward to seeing it. And I will be praying for you for the things that God is doing in your life, and praying that He would give you the boldness, the relaxation, the peace, and everything that you need to move forward. Because it can be, I'm not a camera person. I'm not. But for me to do what God has given me to do, I had to put what I'm not on the back burner and move forward. And that's what I'm doing. And that's what you're going to do too. You're going to look back and say, I can't believe. Yeah, you're going to look, and you're starting there. You're walking in that path right now as I speak. And so I want to say thank you again. And to my viewers, I'm not going to pray today because I believe that God has already spoken to you in your heart. And so you be blessed and encouraged. Can I say something? Of course you can. What you got to say? I see you next time. Thank you, Sandra. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.